2,000 years ago, under the shadow of the Roman Empire, a child was born in a place no one expected. Not in a palace, not in a temple, but in a cold, silent cave carved into the earth. A king feared him, wise men sought him, and heaven itself announced his arrival. This is the real story behind the most famous night in history. It's 5 years before our calendar begins. In Bethlehem, a poor couple prepares for the birth of a child who will change history. But the place he's born will surprise you. Forget the cozy wooden stable. In Bethlehem, stables were caves, dark, damp, and carved from rock. But why would God choose such a place? Outside, shepherds kept watch under the stars when the heavens suddenly blazed with light. But these weren't the only visitors on their way. Far to the east, wise men saw a strange new star. They began a long journey, unaware their question would ignite fear in a king. Arriving in Jerusalem, they asked Herod, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews?" But that question would spark chaos. Herod's paranoia turned violent. He ordered every male child in Bethlehem killed. But one family would flee before dawn. Warned in a dream, Joseph escaped with Mary and the baby into the desert. But could they survive the road to Egypt? They lived as refugees in Egypt until Herod's death. Then they quietly returned to Nazareth, where years of silence began. In Nazareth, Jesus grew up in a carpenter's home, shaping wood with his father. But something greater was taking shape too. For 30 years he lived unseen, yet soon his voice would echo across Israel. Down by the Jordan River, a prophet cried, "Prepare the way of the Lord." But when Jesus arrived, something miraculous happened. As he rose from the water, the heavens opened and a voice declared, "This is my beloved Son." But where would that calling lead? Driven into the wilderness, he faced 40 days of hunger and temptation, but he would emerge unbroken. Back by the Jordan, he called fishermen to follow him, ordinary men about to witness extraordinary things. At a wedding in Cana, water became wine, his first public miracle, but few understood its meaning. Word spread through Galilee, a teacher who healed the sick had come, but his message challenged everything people believed. The blind could see, the crippled walked, and hope returned to Israel. But not everyone rejoiced. In Jerusalem, he said, "Destroy this temple, and I will raise it in 3 days." But his words sparked outrage. He chose 12 followers, simple men destined to change history, but none could imagine how. Caught in a storm, his followers feared for their lives until he spoke and the wind obeyed. With 5 loaves and 2 fish, he fed thousands. But the hunger he came to satisfy was far deeper. A man with leprosy knelt before him. "Be clean," Jesus said, and he was. But the miracle carried a greater message. Crowds adored him, yet the rulers grew fearful of his influence. But their fear would soon turn to fury. When he declared, "Before Abraham was, I am," the crowd lifted stones. But his hour had not yet come. At Lazarus' tomb, he called, "Come out," and death itself obeyed. But the miracle would seal his fate. The leaders met in secret. It is better that one man die for the people. He entered Jerusalem on a donkey as crowds shouted, "Hosanna!" But the same voices would soon cry for his death. In the temple, he overturned tables, driving out corruption. But the authorities saw their chance. That night, one of his own betrayed him for silver. But even betrayal was part of the plan. A cross on his back, thorns on his head, he climbed the hill of Golgotha, and the world held its breath. Darkness fell, the earth trembled. He whispered, "It is finished." But was it really the end? 3 days later, the tomb was empty. Death itself had been defeated. He appeared alive to his followers, proof that love had conquered death. But the world was just beginning to change. On a mountain, he said, "Go and make disciples of all nations." But his story wasn't over yet. As he blessed them, he rose into the clouds, returning to the Father. But he promised he'd come again. 2 angels appeared and said, "This same Jesus will return, as you saw him go." The question is, when? His followers carried the message across continents, through danger and through time. For 2,000 years, his words have inspired hearts and nations, and they still echo today. He said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Few sentences have changed more lives. The true story of Jesus isn't finished. It's a promise of hope yet to come. If this story inspired you, let others know. Like the video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and leave your name in the comments so we can stand together in faith and light.